What's up, y'all? I'm out here at the range, as you can see back behind me, on an absolutely blazing hot day. Even the shades got me sweating out here. It ain't getting no cooler though, and I got some really interesting stuff planned, so we're gonna tough it out, and we're gonna start it out by getting us together a T-Rex loadout. So as you can see, we got the two-piece jelly contraption going on again. We got the chrono and the bench set up down here, and then down there at 28 yards, we got our jelly blocks. As you can see, two freshly melted blocks here, no tests at all done, because we're gonna need every inch of this stuff to get these done, I'm afraid. And then also you can see we're staying with that heavy clothing barrier with the layer of denim, fleece, and 2 layers of cotton t-shirt material, because yes, the animals out here in my woods wear heavy clothing. So what I got for you this time, like I say, we got to get us together a T-Rex loadout, so what better round to use than some 500 Magnum. We got the Defiant Munitions 500 Smith Wesson Magnum 385 grain TCX. Now, the guys over at Defiant Munitions, if y'all been watching my channel, you know they have been sending lots of ammo for us to check out for the channel, so I really appreciate this. As you can see, like that 4570 from them I just tested, it's got that really wicked looking black coating on it that helps with the lubricity, feeding, make sure you don't get anything stuck in your chambers. And then it's got that really wicked 3-way split expanding copper projectile I like to call the wicked banana peels. And again, one thing I always like about Defiant Munitions, they put their velocities on the box and they put exactly what they tested it from. So you got an 1,850 feet per second velocity on this thing and 2,926 foot-pounds of energy. So almost 3,000 foot-pounds of energy at that speed. Now what they tested it out of was a 8.38 inch Smith & Wesson 500. Now what I've got here, as you can see, my performance center is not quite that long. This is a 7.5 inch barrel on this 500 Smith here. So this is what I'm going to be using for my shorter barrel. So we probably won't quite see those speeds, obviously. And as you can also see, just like I did with the BFR, I stuck a little Holosun red dot on this 500 mag just so I can have a better chance of hitting that gel. And that's another reason I'm just testing this at 28 yards again. I know that's very close for what I'm running here, way too close, but at 28 yards with just a red dot in my terrible eyes, I feel halfway decent about being able to keep it in the block for you. And then for our longer barrel on this one, we got something very cool that Pete over at Defiant Munitions sent me. Like I was telling y'all in that 4570 video with the Mad Pig, he actually sent me 2 things to check out that was his personal rifles, and this is the second one. As you can see, the Big Horn Armory lever action 500 Magnum. This is actually the Black Thunder tactical version of their Model 89, I believe is what they call their 500 Magnum lever action. So very nice unit here. This one has a 16-inch barrel, got that big old muzzle brake, that tank style brake on the end, as you can see. Got some really nice M-lock up here with a rail on the bottom. This is something I've checked out a lot on their site. I'd love to have one of these things, just not in the budget right now, so I'm really looking forward to trying this one out. But this should be a really fun one here. We ought to see some big power going down range. Big thanks again to Pete and Fraser over there at Defiant Munitions for sending out this ammo and for letting me borrow this Big Horn Armory. Now, I've mentioned before, I don't have any links or anything for Defiant Munitions, but they're very easy to find, and I will leave a code that'll help you out a little once you get there if you want to get something from them. But enough all that chit-chatting. Let me get this stuff set up and let's see if we can send these big boys down range. All right, y'all, let's try to get some speeds out of these things. I'm going to try to get a 5-round average from each barrel length. I'm having a problem with this 500 Smith here. I believe my velocity is right there in the edge where this thing goes from handgun to rifle velocities, because it's reading, and I did some test runs with this Precision 1 stuff too, just to try to make sure I was dialed in out there. This is 350 grain, saying 1725. If I put this below the 1600 reading at the handgun, this stuff gives me about 1670, 16 something around in there, not quite 1700. So I feel like that's valid. But this Defiant Munitions stuff, if I put it on the rifle for over 1600, it doesn't read it. It gives me crazy readings like it's not in that range. And then when I bump it down the handgun, I'm getting into 1500s, which seems low to me because they're saying 1850 out of 8.38. This is 7.5, so yeah, there's going to be some loss, but that seems like a lot of loss, but I don't know. Anyway, I'm going to run 5 rounds and we'll see what we get from them. If y'all aren't familiar, you're going to get multiple readings with this lab radar. The big one's your muzzle, and then you're going to get 10, 28, which is where the gel is, 50, 75, and 100. So let's see what we get here, y'all. Got 1548, see all that's valid reading, your strength is good. 1532. 1576. 1567. And 1520. So like I said, they're a lot lower than that 1850. So that makes me think it's almost that it's not valid. But then again, like I say, these are reading about right. So, but I'm gonna leave it for now and see how that longer barrel does. All right, let's see what this Black Thunder can do with these things, y'all. Hopefully it'll act a little more like it's supposed to. I'm still not quite sure what's going on with that Smith, as far as those velocities being so much lower than what this 8.38 says. This right here should have no problem getting well over 1600. So the whole threshold on the lab radar shouldn't be an issue. Maybe that's what's going on with that Smith. I don't know. Let's see what happens here. Got 1925, so that seems about right on this. So let's see what we keep getting here. 1912. This thing's shifting my whole lead sled over. I think I hit one of my chains on my target down there in 1940. 1900. And 1928, so let's check the average on that one. All right, so that time we had a 5-round average of 1,921 feet per second. That's 3,000 foot-pounds of energy plus right there. Extreme spread of 40 and a standard deviation of 15.5. So, but anyway, if I find something weird, I'll put some notes up here on the screen about it. But for now, let me get this reset and y'all know what time it is. All right, y'all, it's Jurassic Park jelly time. I'm gonna try to put 1 round of each barrel length into the gel down there and see what we get here. I've actually got this set into the rifle velocity range, see if it'll read this time. As I was trying to get the point of impact on this stuff here, I actually got some readings on this at the 28 yard down there of in the 1700s, which seems a whole lot more realistic than the 15s we was getting. So I don't know what's going on with this stuff out of this Smith. But we'll try it again here and see if we can get something out of it. All right, I see it's an absolute mess down there and some cloth fell off. Hopefully I stayed in. Let me go check and see what I got. All right, y'all, that one down there is looking absolutely fantastic. Unfortunately, you probably noticed we didn't get the speed reading. I had it on the rifle range setting just to see if maybe it would read since we was having trouble on the handgun setting, but no luck there. Well, let's see what happens here with this Big Horn Armory. Believe it or not, I'm actually more nervous about keeping this in the gel than I was the Smith, just because this thing is actually hitting about 4 1/4 inches high at 28 yards. So let's see what we get, y'all. All right, that definitely hit the gel. I have absolutely no idea where though. Let me go see what we got. All right, y'all, let's check out what we got down here. This whole test has just been a mess from the word go, and it continued on, as you can see, with this round here out of the Big Horn Armory. We did not catch the projectile. Now, we caught one of the pedals, and I also got one of the other pedals that scooted out the side there, but the base and the other pedal, I looked and looked and looked, but I could not find where that thing went. I actually figured this stuff was gonna leave the block out of that Big Horn Armory. I figured it would go through all 32 inches if it stayed straight out the end. Obviously, it didn't stay straight. As y'all can see, it curved out the side there. But anyway, what I've done is flip this block over. You're looking at a top view right here. So both of them were kind of close to the top, so you got the best view doing this. So looking at them from above, coming in from this side right here, obviously that's the one out of the Smith & Wesson revolver. Absolutely incredible disruption right there. That's 2 inches across, a little more than 2 inches across on that permanent channel in the gel there. Fantastic disruption all the way through that first block. I mean, just huge amounts of disruption. Carries into this second block. It looks like about halfway, and as you can see, just absolutely massive expansion from that projectile. And then coming from the other direction, obviously that was the Big Horn Armory. Now, like I said, this is the top, so that hit top right, and I was aiming way down here at the bottom left on this board down here, so that's how much difference there is at 28 yards. But anyway, again, massive amounts of disruption right here. You can see just tons of disruption and wound action going on. Now, you got the separation from the pedals again, just like the 45-70. It looks like maybe around in this area somewhere. Really hard to say. One of them is still in the gel. You can see it curved and landed right here. The rest of them, or two of them at least, went out right here out the side, and I'm assuming that's where the base went out. That's the only other exit I see. There could be an exit right here, maybe where one of the pedals went out, but either way, some massive energy dumped into this gel before it did exit. So on your penetration numbers, the one here out of the 7.5 inch Smith & Wesson revolver stopped at exactly 24 inches. And then the one here out of the Big Horn Armory, this really means absolutely nothing. I believe this is where the base exited at like 15.5, but again, that doesn't mean anything. I would be willing to bet that if that thing stayed straight, it would have went completely through both of these blocks of gel. But here's your close-up look at those tracks in the gel. This one right here from the Smith & Wesson revolver. Like I said, absolutely huge amount of disruption there, and it carries all the way through that first block like that. And into the second block, still keeps going with that disruption, and there you can see it. I mean, that is definitely a wicked banana peel if I've ever seen one. And then again, of course, from this side with the Big Horn Armory, just so close to that side, it was flirting with disaster all the way until it finally decided it was done. And you can see it came out the side right there. One of the pedals, like I say, it stopped there, and I've actually got another one that I recovered. All right, y'all, let's look at this projectile here. We got the full one from the Smith & Wesson, and then we got the two pedals off the Big Horn Armory. Let me just tell you right now, this thing is absolutely enormous. That thing is incredible. That's bigger. This right here, I ain't even measured it yet, but I can just tell you, it's bigger than the 45-70s, the 308s. This is an incredible looking expanded projectile. It was definitely right on the edge of its breaking point. You can see there, especially with that pedal right there, you can see just how far back that thing peeled, and I don't know how well it's going to come through, but you can see some cracks forming right there on the edges of the pedal. It was getting ready to let go, but it held on, and it held on for some impressive looking performance, that's for sure. But let's measure them up and see what they're looking like. As far as the weight, they both started at 385. This full one here from the Smith & Wesson is at 385.6, so absolutely nothing lost there. Now these obviously not much at all left, so we'll measure them anyway. We'll start with this first pedal. So with just one, we've got 66.6. So, I mean, 66 grains with just a pedal. We'll actually leave that and get the total. And we add the other one back. That moves us up to 131.8. Now, that doesn't mean a whole lot, but just if somebody's curious, that's the weight on those two pedals. And then as far as the measurement on them, we'll start with this one here out of the Smith first. This has got to be bigger than that 45-70 and that 308. You got 1.402 inches. That is absolutely incredible, y'all. This way here is even bigger, 1.42 inches. That is absolutely incredible. And then the pedals here, just just in case anybody's curious about that, the length of it, you got 7/8/6, and then crossways here, you got 4/1/8. So no expansion, and you lost most of the projectile out of the gel, but you still got some very, very potent little shards right here. And there you have it, y'all, the Defiant Munitions 500 Smith & Wesson Magnum from the Big Horn Armory and the Smith & Wesson Performance Center, aka the T-Rex Loadout. This is some more incredible stuff from those guys at Defiant Munitions. Again, I think everything I've tested from them has performed absolutely fantastic. Very, very nice penetration, very nice expansion. So I definitely have to give those guys credit for delivering what they say they're going to deliver. But either way, if the power goes down to the T-Rex fence and I'm loaded up with some of these, I would definitely feel ready for business. All right, y'all, I'm calling it right there for what was a pretty sloppy 500 Magnum test. But regardless of the numbers, I think it's pretty obvious that these things put a wallop on the jelly out there. It had them blocks jumping for sure. I would definitely not feel underpowered against pretty much anything all the way up to a T-Rex. But let me know what y'all think about them. Those of y'all out there with some 500 Magnums, what kind do you have? What do you run in it? Any of y'all out there got one of these Big Horn Armories? If you do, I'm definitely very jealous. Let me know down in the comments what your thoughts are. If you did enjoy the video, reach down and hit that thumbs up button, subscribe to the channel, and make sure you got your notifications turned on so you don't miss anything when I upload it. If you're doing some shopping, hit up those affiliate links I got in the video description. Anything you buy after going through any of those links down there, I get a kickback from them towards the channel, so I really do appreciate that. Once again, a big thanks to all my range gang members, Defiant Munitions for sending out this ammo for us to test, and every single one of y'all out there for supporting the channel the way y'all do. I've got some really good stuff headed your way, so stay on the lookout for that. And in the meantime, stay safe, stay prepared, and I'll see you soon.